Hello and welcome to Predictocast, the podcast where we predict a movie storyline after watching only the first 10 minutes and knowing nothing else about it. I'm Josh, and with me as always is Skinner. Hey, Skinner.
Hey, Josh, everybody.
We are continuing on with Action August. We are talking about the rest of Firepower, and we have with us a guest, someone who had to come on after Skinner failed to recognize the Ultimate Warrior from the poster in the mini. We are happy to welcome back
Mr. Hellwig.
We are happy to welcome back. It's been too long. Our good buddy Kip Reed. Hey Kip, how are you?
Hello, internet friends. I'm very well.
Good. We had to bring you on to help us discuss Firepower. We couldn't think of anyone better to discuss this movie with us because it's so fucking silly.
It is a fever dream of a celebrity child.
Any movie that has your future cops not take off their helmets inside the precinct is like an instant win for me. Like, I know the rest of the movie's gonna be dumb the second they do that.
Well, what won me over was the minivans. They're all driving.
Future vans.
Sorry.
No, we failed to talk about it in part one. We mentioned it to each other, Skinner, when we were watching in the first 10 minutes. But the way that they take Mendez in is they just pop open the back hatch of the van and put him in the back like he is like he's going to visit his cousins and there's not enough room in the van for everybody to have a seat, so he has to ride in the back because he's slightly younger and smaller.
He's a sack of soccer balls going to practice.
It's so funny that I can't believe I was so upset we forgot to mention it on the fucking episode because it's so great. He just they tuck him in there like he's the cooler for the picnic.
Yeah, they didn't think about that, I think. Like, they're like, oh, well, we have these vans and they look futuristic, but how do we actually transport prisoners?
I mean, they're vans from 1992, so it's pretty good.
And they take him into the precinct. This is sort of where we pick back up, and he's got. They reveal here sort of that they have little barcodes on their wrists that will, when scanned, show all of the crimes that you've committed or that you're wanted for. And so they bring Mendez into the station. They scan him, and they. He has a bunch of crimes. I didn't write all those down. We'll talk about the crimes of another person in just a minute here, but he had with him some phosphorus load bullets, whatever those are, and he also has a little green vial, which this is we continue to get movies with green vials in them, Skinner. But this one actually is a thing that is dealt with, unlike Deadly Illusion, where they don't even talk about what that is. This is the fake AIDS vaccine, right?
Oh, I forgot that this movie is about fake AIDS vaccines.
There's a lot of fake AIDS stuff. No glove, no love, partner. Guess we're going back to that bullshit, said Chad.
Yeah, Chad McQueen, Steve McQueen's son, like we mentioned, is upset that he has to start wearing a condom now. But then we find out that he's married and has a kid. So, like, is he sleeping around on his wife already, or?
Yeah.
Okay, but
yeah.
But he
doesn't. The main character.
I mean, you can call this one the Pussycat. Natural laughter.
But he doesn't do anything with the, what is the woman's name?
Lovely Lisa.
Lovely Lisa.
Okay. Yeah.
Did you not read the famous quotes from this movie?
I found it interesting on IMDb right now, and they accepted it. My interesting click.
Oh, yes, that's right. Drexel, lovely Lisa will be the stakes. That is a quote that is important in this film.
I want to mention that Drexel, who is kind of the main bad guy, he also, that name could also be the name of the drug they're after.
Yeah.
Or a super gun that shoots lasers and bullets.
Oh, he's pulling out the Drexel.
But yeah, like he doesn't do anything with Lisa until his wife is dead, right?
He's respectful like that.
Yeah. His wife's corpse is cold, and then he can start this relationship with this woman he met in the Hell Zone.
Which I think they also tried to stop at the last second. Like, no. Like, cut right there.
I like the fact that the UK version of this is like 1 minute and 34 seconds shorter.
You can't have crossbows. You cannot have a crossbow.
You can't have ninjas or crossbows in Europe. But fucking like, I want to like they should add that 1 minute and 34 seconds onto the France version where he just makes out that lady for a while.
Hey Chad, I understand you want to shoot the last scene again, but man, I think it's kind of hardcore there for the last 5 minutes. Your pants are off the entire time, and I just don't think it's going to work.
I can't get enough of this fact. This movie, like, we have two main characters. We have Nick Sledge and Darren Braniff, which are Gary Daniels and Chad McQueen. Yes, great names, great future names.
Kickboxing legend.
But like, because Steve McQueen's son is, I guess, a bigger star.
He's not though.
He's just he is the fighting dad in this movie, and he lives longer.
Yeah, it's kind of mind blowing because I knew who Gary Daniels was. I've seen other movies with him.
You're
never heard of.
Fan.
Yes, I'd never heard of Chad McQueen before this movie. I didn't know Steve McQueen even had children.
I thought it was Chad Michael Murray the first time you guys recommended this to me.
The sad thing is that Steve McQueen never got to see this movie because he died in 1980. So
he paid for it, but he never got to see it.
Oh my god! Like, this movie, I feel like if you set it up as like, okay, we have this place where there's a police-free hell zone where they're manufacturing
that isn't New Detroit.
That isn't New Detroit. That they're manufacturing a fake AIDS vaccine in the future.
Isn't nuke at all.
It's not nuke at all. For a second there, I thought, oh god, this movie's gonna try to say something. Holy shit, is it not trying to say anything?
No, it isn't. Like, we were worried about that. Like, we were worried that, is this movie going to get kind of weird when it's like talking about AIDS and stuff?
Oh, it does, but not the way that you think it's going to.
But it's like not even that big of a deal. Like, they don't even really, like, they just blow the lab up later and it's like, okay, well, cool, we're done.
Do you think they got to the death ring stuff and they were like, this is the movie, guys? Like, let's cut all this other bullshit out. Just focus on the death ring.
Maybe.
I forgot that it was about anything else. Like, Sledge gets there, and I forgot that he was like a police officer because he just seems so into it. Like,
yeah, he is.
And then he dies.
I think they lost every other set. And like, we got the death ring. It's at Chad's house, so we can just do that.
Oh yeah, they definitely shot his house and the death ring in the same warehouse. Because what is that house that he lives in? His house.
What is that
like,
chair?
That chair that looks like a spiral staircase in chair form.
That's like downtown Manitoba right there, his house. But he lives for tax reasons.
I like that you picked an entire province as opposed to a city or town in Manitoba.
But you name me 5 cities in Manitoba. You're from there.
I am not from Manitoba. Don't slur me like that.
You are from the greater Nova Scotia, Manitoba province area. Territory. Perfection.
I think there's Pile of Bones.
Sure.
Regina.
South Pile of Bones. South Pile of Bones.
Toronto.
North Toronto.
You don't want it up there, man.
No. That's where all the cracks at.
They do actually, speaking of Sledge, they do mention his haircut, because we talked a little bit in part 1 about his long ponytail and how lax the LAPD rules must be. And they also say, when are you going to get a haircut? And then they complain about how lax the LAPD rules are. And his captain even later says, you need to get a haircut.
My God, that's foreshadowing.
Oh, because he had a role in Power Rangers this week as Tommy's cousin that's actually evil, but no one knows it, and then he turns on them at the end. And then they defeat him, and he wakes up like, it was all a dream, I guess. I thought you guys were the Power Rangers, and they're like, yeah, crazy dream, Billy.
The moment you mentioned that to me in DM, I was like, oh shit, he does look like a knockoff Tommy.
Yeah, he does.
He tried out for Tommy, didn't get it. They're like, we're gonna bring you back as a reoccurring. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, Timmy.
Timmy and Tommy.
The Orange Ranger.
Shit! There's never been one before.
He does call them I think he refers to himself as the LAPD Rock and Roll Division.
The Zombie Squad, if you will.
Fighting crime at night, playing SNES all day.
Oh man, they're playing some video games in this movie for sure. So the plot really gets going here because one of the cops comes in and says, "We've captured the swordsman and we're going to bring him in." And it's like, when we learn who the swordsman is, it doesn't really make any sense why he would have been captured. Why is he outside of the hell zone at all?
Steroids.
You gotta find more steroids. They have fake AIDS vaccines, which they need a factory to make with actual lab technicians to make a drug that doesn't work.
I don't understand that.
But they don't have any steroids in there, and God knows he needs his steroids, or he might shrink down.
Drexel's like
pounds.
One of his crimes is loitering, so he might have just been loitering in the
That is true. Okay, so this is what I want to talk about. So they bring the swordsman in, and this is our first introduction to Jim Hellwig in the role, the guy who was known as the Ultimate Warrior. He barely speaks in this movie, which is a bit of a disappointment. Like, I feel like he and Drexel should have just been rolled into one character, and like he should have been the main bad guy. Like, I think that would have been at least given him something more to do, because he doesn't say, I think, anything. I think he has like one line in the entire movie.
He's also the best part of the movie.
Well, yes, because he's menacing. He has a very powerful presence, especially later on when he's walking around with that cape on that makes his shoulders like 4 feet wide.
Yes,
I love that. Kip just messaged me. If you're worried that the Ultimate Warrior is not going to show up in his wrestling gear, do not worry any longer.
Because he shows up in his wrestling gear.
Why would he ever wear tassels in this thing?
He was wearing knee pads, like Ace bicycle knee pads.
I swear there's a few scenes where they had where he had to kick, which is not his strength, where they had to edit it because he fell on his ass.
Oh, I fully believe he started putting on face paint, and they were like, "Hey, James, bud, not in this movie. Sorry, like you don't want to get sued."
And then he called him some kind of homophobic slur for questioning him.
He made everyone buy his comic book that he wrote,
where he ties up Santa Claus in a very Bondish sort of way.
Hollis said he doesn't talk, which is very weird because that's the one thing he could do is talk.
Oh, this character should have a really bizarre rant.
Yes, he should be
Sky Warriors.
Yes, he should just be an insane night. He should be an insane terror and just mumbling and growling and like saying all kinds of weird stuff. And he just doesn't do anything.
That's how he made all his money.
Yeah,
he's not. He made his money by being large and being crazy. He's large in this movie. They got that.
Very large.
He's
large. A little smaller now because this isn't the time where he couldn't afford the steroids anymore.
Right. This is in between. And his name is not legally Warrior at this point.
Which he later will change his name legally to Warrior.
For Warrior University.
Yes. He can not get sued by Vince McMahon.
All right, so they scan his wrist and they bring up all of his crimes. And I'm going to go through his crimes. I went through and I wrote them all down. Some of them are extremely severe, some of them less so. It just seems like he was a equal opportunist when it came to crime. Whatever crime was available, I will commit them. So here are his crimes, and some of these repeat on the list. It kind of cycles through. So we have murder, we have assault, we have battery, robbery, carjacking, grand theft auto.
What
those might be the same thing. Forced
that hot dog deal that he steals later.
Oh yes, that weird Art Deco bus that they drive around.
Oh yeah.
Forced entry, loitering, possession of narcotics, attempted murder. So he did commit murder, but he also attempted murder that was not successful.
Such bullshit. You don't get an acting for best attempted acting. You know what I'm saying? There's no Oscar for that.
He's already got robbery on his list, but also petty theft. I don't know what that means.
Small steroids.
He stole the annihilators.
So assassination is one of them. So I guess he killed the president at some point. Or a leader of a foreign country.
He killed James Tunney.
Rape. Okay. Possession of...
That one they could
have left that one off.
He does not seem like a sexual being.
No, that's the other thing is that there's none of that weird. He's never weird towards Lisa or anything like that. Like it's never
Lisa.
The lovely Lisa. Yeah, he's never he doesn't ever touch her or do anything strange to her. So it's like for a movie being this weird sort of like low budget fighting movie with all these crazy guys everywhere, there's like very little sexual stuff in it, because sometimes these movies can get really dicey and there can be some weird stuff happening, and they kind of avoid that, which I was grateful for.
So what you're saying is you're shocked there was no boobies.
I am kind of shocked there was no nudity.
Skinner kept texting me, "Where are the boobs?" I'm like, dude, I'm trying to sleep. It's 2:30.
Where are the boobs?
For an hour, he just kept texting me about boobs. I'm like, bud, it is my mother's birthday. What are you doing?
I'm just saying, if I want to, I get really upset if I'm watching these free movies free with IMDb commercials.
Which is the only way you can watch this. I tried to buy it to avoid the commercials, and they were like, "No dice, bud."
Yeah, it's not available anywhere else.
They're not serving up the free goods.
Is IMDb TV the new like Amazon Prime? Like Amazon Prime has a ton of crazy shitty action movies, but now IMDb is entering the ring. They're like, hey, we got this and nobody else has it.
Crackle ran so they could walk.
Doesn't Amazon own IMDb?
Yeah, they do, I think.
So it's the Amazon sublet inside of Amazon.
Yes. It's a Blockbuster Video inside a smaller Blockbuster Video.
It's a loss leader.
Oh yeah. I mean, how many people here on this cast list who are still alive, unlike Jim Hellwig, the Warrior, who I'm sure his wife Dana Warrior is now keeping up with this stuff. That's her name.
Her legal name is Dana Warrior. That is correct. I will back Skinner up on this.
But are they like all these people who are actively like just paying to keep up their IMDb trivia and cast stuff? Like, is Stephen J. McCarthy going in here and going like, my character wasn't Hooker, but I can't afford to go in there and change it? That is, I assume, the trans joke from early in the movie.
Oh,
which, by the way, I'll give this movie credit. They don't really go heavy on that.
I was so worried
because it was like 90-30.
That is what it is, because they do encounter him or her. I'm not sure how they would identify. They do encounter them before they go into the bar for the first time, and they don't treat it like they are offended or grossed out. So I was like, oh, that's something. Good for them for not.
Yeah, it's very like, oh man, can you believe this? But they don't say it. I'm like, good for you, movie. I mean, nothing else, but good for you on this one.
Yeah. They actually have some slight restraint. Finishing out his list of crimes: possession of deadly weapons,
swords.
Yes.
The last one's my favorite: trespassing on private property.
The loitering. They got this bullshit. All cops are bastards. They got it twice for the same crime.
So they bring this guy in, and he is apparently this well-known bad guy. Like he is known. He's killed people. He's a bad dude. But yet they're like, uncuff him, and then of course he proceeds to beat the shit out of all of them.
We have to introduce his sick wrestling skills. His headbutts.
Big headbutts, and his big move is, I'm going to bend your hand backwards. Which, by the way, would suck. I'm not saying it's not good.
100%.
Yeah, no good.
It's going to hurt.
I do love that, like, they bring him in, and the Captain Priest basically says, like, oh, yeah, like, they're going to try to break this guy out immediately. Like, they know they're going to break him out immediately, and they break him out immediately.
Well, we keep getting the ominous golf cart shot. A golf cart driving around.
The golf cart with the snowplow attached to it.
It's
just
driving,
showing up in the background every scene.
It shows up before he's even arrested.
It showed, if the car stunt, it's in the background driving around.
Like, it would make sense if there was if this was like a Joker plan to get the swordsman captured so they could break out the Mendez, but they leave Mendez there, right?
Yes.
Right.
So why did the swordsman have to get arrested to then get broken out?
You have to introduce the swordsman here.
That's dumb.
No swords, but no swords though.
They should have kept building that up, and like until you finally meet him in the hell zone in the ring, and it's like, oh, that's who they're talking about, this big dude. But then the way they introduce him, it's just like, oh, well, we captured him somewhere and now he's escaped again. And you're like, well, that was pointless. Why did they do that?
See, here's what I wanted to have happen was when they scan his hand in and get all his crimes up, I wanted it to come up as like his legal name was the Swordsman. And one of the guys go, that's weird. And he's like, oh yeah, he used to be called the Ultimate Swordsman, but he didn't want Drexel to copyright his name.
He's actually Jewish. It's Swordsman.
And he started Swordsman University.
And a comic book about swords that was very homosexually assaultive.
Where he hogtied the Easter Bunny.
With the sword.
With the sword.
So yeah, the little plow car drives through the gate of the police station. Bunch of gang members show up on a bus and they break in and then just start wrecking havoc, killing a bunch of people. This is actually pretty fun. When they get to the swordsman, they break him out by blowing off the hand of the guard to use it on the hand plate to open the gate.
Definitely not RoboCop. Stop comparing this to RoboCop.
It's so clean.
Give the man a hand, buddy.
Like we kind of talked about it a little bit in the first 10, but even their like full on police uniforms are kind of RoboCop-esque a little bit.
I mean, this is not RoboCop.
It's not. I gotta stop talking about RoboCop.
LA, not Detroit. We don't want to get sued, Josh. Stop.
That is true. I don't want anything bad to happen to these filmmakers. So there's a bunch of havoc. They break the swordsman out.
It's in a meditative trance, like he's controlling everything that's happening around him.
That would have been a great twist.
Now, when they were fighting all the bad guys, and Boone, who appears to be a romantic item for Sledge, but nothing comes of it. They yell, "Boone, get the hell out of there!" like 20 times.
It's the Austin Power bit. She's like a mile away from that steamroller. And she just sits there waiting for the bullets to get closer and closer.
They keep doing it. I'm like, okay, she can get shot at some point here. Like, why do they keep yelling, "Boone, get the hell out of there"?
Well, and they set it up because when we first meet her in the station, she's talking to that cop and she says, "This mandatory insurance is killing me."
Oh, and this car of mine, it's costing me $40 a liter of gas.
Yeah.
A liter? Like, what? Where are you?
Don't.
This is the future, man.
Future Manitoba.
I'm from Los Angeles, and it doesn't cost that much to get a liter of gas when I was a kid.
I love that. Okay, the Captain Croy, which is a great name.
Again, he looks like a priest. Every time he shows up, he has this little medallion around his neck, and I was like, "Oh, the father's here to read everyone their last rites."
It's a Judge Dredd situation where the cops are cops and priests.
They can give you last rites as they kill you. That would save American cops so much time. But this, like, he yells everything about 4 times. Like, he wants our boys to wait for backup, so he yells, "You wait for backup!" like 19 times. I'm like,
"You're off the case.
You're off the case."
Every old man in this movie has a great voice. They're all gruff. Him and Drexel both have great voices.
There's a cop in the background of that one scene that has like those like 80s sunglasses on with red hair. And he's just kind of in the background. And I want the whole movie to be about him. He's like an old Chicago looking cop.
Like the old Chicago restaurant?
Transferred to LA. Yes. It's like Dick of Light.
Ooh, that's a good cop.
So they go after the bus, this big weird Art Deco looking thing. This looked like looked like the buses. If you recall from Batman the animated series, the big buses that their like SWAT teams would ride around in for the police, it looked like one of those, and I was like, oh wow, that is interesting. Sledge is on his motorcycle. He's riding around the bus trying to find a weakness.
You will never find that on a bus.
Suddenly there's a helicopter that's with them that's shooting at the bus.
Not very futuristic.
Well, it gets taken out in a futuristic way because the bad guys have a laser gun that they fire at the helicopter and blow it up.
When shit blows up in this movie, like, that's all the budget.
Yes, for sure.
But there's one thing that's in this scene and then later with the motorbike where it's really cool when they blow up those two, in the first 10 minutes, they blow up those two cars in a tunnel race.
Yes.
The other cars they blow up from this point on are just hushed out cars on the side of the road. Like they drive up to cars that are already blown up and blow them up instead of shooting things that are moving.
His goddamn tracker is off. And he keeps shooting the same car with rockets over and over again.
Like, at the end, when he comes up to the building to like get his revenge for various things, and like there's just two hushed cars in front, and he just shoots them and then blows them up. They're all like, there's no one in them. He's already shot the two guys who were going to shoot him, and then he just like, while I'm here, I'm going to blow up these two cars that are already blown up.
They needed more explosions. I will say there's a funny bit here where Sledge has like rockets on his motorcycle, and he blows up like, it looks like just a big pile of trash on the side of the road, and then rides through the flames and falls down because of it.
I was trying to rewind to see if like they shot the trash and made him fall. I'm like, no, he did it.
Yeah, he shoots his because his goddamn tracker is off. And he keeps shooting the same thing over and over again with rockets. And like, those aren't cheap, bud. Like, this is the LAPD. Like, the budget's amazing, but it ain't that amazing. Slow down on those rockets.
And do they does the bus blows up the entrance to the free zone, I guess?
Yeah, they have 2 cops guarding the entire zone.
I couldn't figure out what that was, but like, yeah, they just blow up this little shack where these guys are in and head on through into the hell zone.
Is that why the two cops can come and go into the hell zone at like will for the rest of the
entire
entire movie?
Yeah, but why does that not prevent the bad guys from just entering and exiting as they wish?
Josh, you're from Los Angeles now. Where do you think the hell zone would be at?
Well, I know where it is technically because I recognize the theater that they're going into for the death match. Probably. Oh well, no, because I don't want to say that because that sounds bad. I was going to say like somewhere around Skid Row, but that is kind of a hell zone currently.
That's how dare you? How dare you? The answer is Pasadena.
Oh.
Go ahead.
I was going to say Knott's Berry Farm.
Oh, that's Buena Vista. That's pretty much shitty. That's all of Orange County. So yeah, probably Knott's Berry Farm.
They go into the hell zone, which is on it's like, I think this is like third Street or something. It's like right
that's
down
what it looks like, yeah.
Right down in LA. There's a theater that they go into that is like right next to the Grand Central Market. I think that's where they are. And this is like a bar that's taking bets for a death match. And that's kind of when the movie becomes what it ultimately is, which is just dudes fighting in a ring for money.
Dudes fighting in a ring for money controlled by a Commodore Amiga.
Okay, we'll talk about that, but that is, why does he need a computer guy for that?
And then we find out it's all fixed anyway. So like, why do you even need the computer to begin with? Just like do whatever you want.
Yeah, just randomly.
Have somebody in the crowd shoot the loser.
So this is when we meet Drexel too. He is the main bad guy. He owns this bar, and he sees the 2 cops come in on the monitor, and he's like, "I don't discriminate as long as they're willing to play," or something like that. Like he's a real creep.
Doesn't later Mendez come in and like, those 2 are cops. Like
yes,
but they know they're cops from the beginning.
Yeah, he sees.
Yes.
That's true. He does see them in their cop uniform. So why is he surprised?
It would have been that hard if they're going to enter a place where you fight under pseudonyms that are fantastic, and they're trying to infiltrate, and someone is wearing a mask already. Just wear masks and have them wear masks every time they're in there.
Yeah, they could easily do that. They could easily have, come up with better personas.
You're paying for Chad Michael Murray's face, but
Destro shows up for one scene and one scene only.
Motherfucker. I was so excited that Destro was in this movie.
For 30 seconds, and they were like, that was expensive to put that on his face. Let's not do that again.
Are you talking about Kano from Mortal Kombat?
It's Kano makeup they got from like a costume store, like a Halloween spirit.
But he's shaped more like a Destro, though.
Yes, he is, for sure.
He's definitely Destro energy, that big dick Destro energy.
So they enter the club and they immediately get shot at by some guys who are in there who don't like them because they're cops. And Sledge kills both of them and then solidifies his bad cop status by saying, that sucks that we can't do that in the real world.
Wait a minute, they can.
They can and do.
Well, alternative history.
Yeah.
This is where they're keeping their helmets on, which I always love. I wish they'd always kept their helmets on the entire fucking movie. But like when they first finally show the battles in the electric fence, which someone need to piss on one of those. It's literally just the Pit Fighter character select screen.
Yes, it is. It's very funny the way that they have essentially a video game screen showing the fighters.
It's like someone saw Mortal Kombat and was like, yeah, let's do this. But then they lost the rights to it. They're like, all right, let's do this.
I mean, it is pretty similar. I think the comparisons are there because there's a couple fights later where there's two characters who are dressed identically, but one's in yellow and one's in blue. So it's like, are they doing a Sub-Zero Scorpion fight here?
I mean, they should have just brought Scorpion for a cameo.
Oh, that would have been great. They could have done it. Like
somebody, someone from the actual game sprites should be in this movie.
They had Kano ready to roll, and they lost the rights to the game. They're like, fuck, cut it.
This is where we first see the swordsman fighting without his sword at first, and he's fighting some guy named Toonami.
Yeah, Professor Toonami, played by Gerald Akamura. I mean, that's a little bit later. I do want to talk about, though, the way this movie sort of solidifies its politics a little bit by them wandering around in the bar before they get to the deathmatch room and the camera lingering on people with tattoos and piercings as if, look at these freaks.
This guy's getting a tattoo.
Can you imagine?
Can you imagine what the 2000s are going to be like?
They're smoking weed.
And no one has a cell phone.
Didn't see that one coming.
No one did.
They have an announcer in all of these fights, like a weird, like a boxing announcer that doesn't really fit with what we're seeing.
No, because it's really professional looking.
Yeah.
It's broadcast quality.
This on USA Network after 11.
How in God's name did this movie not get Don Wilson in any role?
He definitely said no to the Viper role.
He had to have.
Yeah, I'm sure that because Gary Daniels has worked with him in a couple of movies, so they knew each other, and I think this is the same. This is I think PM International or whatever. I think that puts out a lot of action movies, and some of them Don the Dragon Wilson was in. So I mean, there was obviously some connection there, but I guess they just didn't.
And I mean, they would have wanted Brandon Lee, but
God damn it, Skinner.
They would have wanted, yeah.
Speaking of the swordsman fight, this is when we learn one of the things about the games are that when the fight starts to lag, they select weapons for the fighters. It's like a random computer selection where you see the little weapon select screen that just randomly rolls around until it lands on a weapon. And of course, the swordsman gets a sword, and now his odds are 20-1. And I never understood how this worked, because when the computer selects the weapon, they just turn around and it's on the wall, like it's been there the entire time.
They're magnetized to the wall, and it unmagnetizes one of them.
Yes, that's what I believe happened.
So all the weapons are always there. They just unlock whichever one the person gets.
Yeah, I'm watching the fight now. Actually, it's kind of synced up with what I'm watching right now on the screen, and he's very bad with the sword.
You don't say. He's not very good at moving.
They literally could have been like, you know what? Let's just go ahead and change your name to the Staffman or the Clubman or the Fistman, because he literally is scared to hold the sword.
I like the idea that when the fight lags, you get a weapon. And the fight always lags. No fight ends before the weapons ever show up.
Yeah, these fights are not good. They are really kind of bland. We have some good explosions, we have some good car chases, but the fighting, which is the major thing in this movie, is really kind of dull.
Well, I mean, you
Yeah.
hired as your main fighter the son of Steve McQueen, who is not a fighter. I mean, he's got a bicep tattoo. Don't get me wrong.
Double cross.
Double
It's a
cross.
double cross. I'm staring at it right now. It's a double cross.
I love that he just wears he wears his weekend cut off sleeve sweater that he mows his lawn with to fight.
He wasn't gonna do a fucking sit up for this movie that he paid for.
He paid for. Oh my god! Like, so this first battle with the swordsman is kind of a special event with him fighting Mr. Fuji, but
Professor Tanaka, the Great Muda.
So, but there's an actual tournament going on, and here are some of the participants.
Oh yes, good.
There's one that's magical.
So we got the brackets we have Psycho versus Maniac, which is kind of redundant. We have Snake versus Banger. We have Dr. Death versus Tumor. And Slasher versus Magnum.
Okay.
I don't know where T Legbone fits in, or Alley Cat, or
Viper.
I really wanted. I had thought that the name was Dr. Death Tumor.
Yes.
I was like, that is an awesome name. Like, if he came up with that, they were like, dude, no, it's too long. And he's like, no, trust me. It's going to work.
What is T Legbone?
I
It's an
don't.
old jazz musician from New Orleans. That's old T Legbone over there in the corner with the bass guitar. He's pretty badass.
Sledge goes by Hammer, which
Yeah,
you should
so
just go by Sledge.
Yeah, they come in and they want to. They're undercover now, and they want to like try to
they're
figure
not
out
really.
what's going on. And they this is when we meet like our big one of the big like promoter guys, and he's got this metal eye patch and a ponytail, and he looks like he's like a 50s business dad, but they put an eye patch on him and he grew his hair out. Now he's this cool dude. And
he's definitely played the bartender that gives kids advice in sitcoms. Well, I don't know, Jimmy. Maybe you should listen to your dad. He's a pretty smart guy.
Is his character just called Chief Handler?
yes.
That's so dumb.
Yeah, he's the chief handler.
We call him Daddy. No, the chief handler is fine.
In the video game The Bouncer, his name is Volt Kruger, which is a great name.
He's the guy in the tutorial that tells you, like, you got to press B to kick, Alley Cat.
And they might have wanted this movie to not be RoboCop. They shouldn't have hired a guy who was in RoboCop. Chief Handler is in RoboCop.
Of course he is. He's also in Total Recall.
Yeah, this he's all over the place. But yeah, he tells them that he basically explains the rules of the fight. Like they have to win 5 small time matches to get into the big time. The small time matches are not lethal. They're just there to sort of for bragging rights and money. And you can lose and survive, basically. But the big fights with the swordsman and Professor Toonami and Dr. Death and T Legbone, those are and Tumor
and Razor and Head Crusher and
Kano. Oh, I'm sorry.
Fingers.
They lost
and
Kano.
We lost the rights.
All the American gladiators are on the docket.
Turbo.
Those are when like the big money starts rolling in, and it's like a life or death thing where weapons are involved and everything. And he makes them come up with their names, which of course Sledge goes by the Hammer, and Braniff, as Kip already mentioned, is something about like the Pussycat or something like that. And the guy's like, maybe be the Alley Cat. How about that?
You've never had sex in your life, sir. We're going to call you Alley Cat.
I mean, he has a kid, but that might not be his.
I don't know. So that's Sledge's kid.
Yes.
Sledge hates condoms, as we found out earlier. He's definitely had some kids. Some little hammers, if you will.
Braniff is concerned why his son has an English accent.
And a ponytail. It just keeps growing back. It's fucking weird.
God, kid, you're so good at Battletoads. No American kid is good at this game.
They talk to another fighter whose name is Viper. This guy is essentially set up right from this point to die because he talks about how he just wants to fight to make some money and provide for his family.
Should have been nicknamed Plot Point.
It's our good friend Sacrifice.
He's also the most successful person to come out of this movie too, which is my favorite part of it. He's gone on to become like one of the biggest stunt coordinators in all of Hollywood.
Oh yeah, Art Camacho. Yeah, he's continued to work. So like he's got a bunch of stuff that's all in post production or that's coming out soon.
Chad would have had so many roles, but he's always turning down everything that would be a reference to his father's work.
Well, they wanted him in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, but he just couldn't do it.
He wanted to play his dad in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
He wanted to play his dad. He's like, I can't do it, Quentin. I call him Quentin. It's fine. I couldn't do it, QT. I call him QT. It's fine. This wouldn't be right, bud. All right, Bobby. I call him Bobby. It's fine.
We have Sledge fighting the Gorgon, some dude who they fight. They get weapons. He steals the mace that was supposed to go to Sledge, but Sledge easily defeats him, breaks his arm. Takes him out pretty easily. Braniff fights T Legbone for whatever reason. And they give Braniff a shield and a baton, which he is good at using because he's a cop and he's used to beating people with batons.
He's really saying something. Doesn't know what it is, but it really
they give him a weapon of planting evidence. He does really well with it. It's weird.
They give him the special skill of turning off his body camera.
They give him the special ability of lying.
But again, the guy already saw the cops come in. I guess they didn't take their helmets off, but it certainly seemed like they did when they were in the bar earlier. So he should know who they are.
I mean, they walked in and one of the guys immediately said, "I dare you to kill a cop."
As you do in the Hell Zone.
Yeah, of course.
That's how you get your colors in the Hell Zone, is to kill a cop.
Join aces and eights.
Dude, no one gets that reference, Scanner. What are you doing?
That's just for Kip.
That's just for you guys. I don't know what you're talking about.
Most people don't.
This is when we get our introduction to Lisa, who is the
lovely Lisa.
The lovely Lisa. Excuse me.
How dare you?
She takes bets from the guys in the bar, betting on the fighting. And
I'm no waitress.
Yeah, and Braniff immediately is like into her. He clearly is interested in her in some way. And she gives us her backstory about how she once fell for a fighter and he ended up getting killed in the ring. And so that's why she's never going to get involved with fighters ever again.
And that fighter, Tanuki.
Toonami.
She was married to Tumor.
She's married to T Legbone.
She was always saying, "It's not the Tuma. I'm not into Tuma. I like T Legbone."
And this is when we get Drexel and the swordsman showing up and sending her away, and him getting mad at Braniff and saying, "Hey, don't flirt with my girls. She's part of my business, and my business suffers. The fighters suffer." And this is when the swordsman is just standing there in the background with this huge, massive cape on where his shoulders look like wider than a doorway.
In a Hell Zone, where do you shop for a good cape?
I don't know.
Spend like Hell Zone points that you've earned from achievements to get a good cape like that.
Cosmetics are important. They don't help you in the game, but they really can make you stand out in a crowd.
I mean, if you spend money on them, you're kind of a loser to begin with, so.
He got it in a blind box.
The more matches he wins, he gets those he gets gold coins that he can then spend on upgrading his equipment.
I swear to God, if Drexel walked up and said to them when they're talking to the lovely Lisa, and he goes, "You should spend $99, best value up front.
One day only. New beginners, users only.
Coin doubler. You gotta get the Hell Zone coin doubler. You
gotta get the boosters. You have to get the boosters. They're so important for the game, like late game development.
This is when he brings up that Braniff used a stick really well in the ring, and he's like, "You fought like you've used one of those before."
A stick.
Now, do we want to talk about the shield having tassels on it?
Oh, I forgot about that.
I'm watching it right now, and that shield is covered in tassels.
They got it from one of those nights in the round table dinner show things.
It looks like one of the shields you'd find like at a gas station in New Mexico that was also selling other like Native American trinkets.
That's very specific, Kip.
Like, Mom, can I have this? And like, no, it's not. Like, it's gonna fall apart by the time you get home.
When I was a kid, there was a random like pawn shop place near my grandmother's house, and they
you should probably
sold.
Google that for the next 20 minutes to figure out what the name of it was.
Yeah, they sold like knockoff ninja weaponry. So that's the kind of place that would sell this tasseled shield.
What's a knockoff ninja weapon?
Well, like
a ninja circle.
They suck. They don't stick to shit.
It's just a blank CD that they send as like a round ninja star.
I'm playing Hellraiser 3.
I'm just selling packs of cards. You can cosplay as an X-Man.
I'm Gambit, but don't say that legally.
Exactly.
Well,
He's
what I
kind of
mean
a
by
ninja.
I guess knockoff is the wrong word, but I bought some foam-handled nunchucks there pretty regularly, and they were very cheap and they're plastic and they broke immediately. But
there was nunchucks in this movie, and when someone got hit with them, I thought that would suck.
Yeah. We see Branniff playing Super NES with his son. I couldn't figure out what game they were playing.
Mario All-Stars.
I would wager they were playing RoboCop the game.
That game sucks. Anything by Ocean.
Don't show the screen. Do not show the screen.
Do not show the screen. What if it was What if it was Mortal Kombat 2 and they were showing Kano and they're like, "Fuck, we lost the rights.
We lost the rights to that one character."
When they showed up, when his family showed up, I'm like, "What the fuck does this character have a family for?" And then I should have realized.
I assumed his wife in the movie was his real life wife because she's so awful in this. But no relation whatsoever. Not even his sister.
She is
not
very
even his
bad.
sister play his wife. Can you please hire my sister to play my wife in the movie? I need this.
Do me a favor there, man. I'm paying for everything. Let's put her in the movie.
I thought that his son's wearing a turtleneck for a casual afternoon of SNES.
And they're in this like fucking Chuck Nagel painting. This is what they live in.
They live in a hospital. I saw him walk to that lobby. I'm like, this is a hospital lobby.
It does look like a hospital, and he's got like when she confronts him earlier about the job that he's doing, he's like in his gym, I guess, but it's like it feels like the waiting room of a 1980s office building.
Yep.
And this guy doesn't work out.
Glass everywhere. No, he doesn't work out. And he's an upper body business guy, so
yeah.
That's why he punches.
Yeah, he skips legs.
Yeah, it's upper body business.
She wants him to quit. Basically, she wants him to quit his job, which she's right. Quit being a cop. But he
can't.
Is mad at her.
He's born genetically a cop.
Plus, there's only really two jobs. One is pit fighter, and the other is cop. So
he's doing both.
I don't know what he's supposed to do.
Yeah.
The best part is that she's right, and she dies, and that's cool.
Yeah, it's.
This movie doesn't pull punches. It just kills like whoever it wants to kill.
That is true. It does not. He goes back to the Hell Zone to talk to the lovely Lisa, and she has a bruise. And he immediately wants to know, oh, did Drexel do this to you? And she doesn't want to talk about it. And he keeps trying to convince her to leave the zone. And then he tells her the story about he tells her about his son and the fact that he has a wife who hates him. So it's like, I have a wife, but she hates me. So it would be okay if we made out. Things
aren't going well. She had a kid with my partner. So
she got hammered.
Why does he say that ever in this movie?
It is impossible for him to think of anything that clever.
Skinner, you should be writing movies, my brother.
I have yet to write a single 8-star IMDb reviewed movie, and it really upsets me. One of the characters at this point, they're talking about what they've learned about Drexel and the swordsman, which they're with them all the time at this point. And they're like, Drexel's like a Dutch uncle for the swordsman. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? Who just says someone's like a Dutch uncle?
What does that even mean?
It means they're always around each other, I guess.
Is that a variation of the Dutch oven?
The Dutch uncle. If you call anyone someone's uncle, it's somehow immediately gross.
Instead of for a Dutch oven, instead of putting someone's head under the blanket while you fart, it's putting someone's head under the blanket while you piss in their face.
A Dutch uncle is an informal term for a person who issues frank, harsh, and severe comments and criticisms to educate, encourage, and admonish someone. When does he ever do that to the swordsman?
He never does. And if that were the case, then the swordsman should have killed him at the end.
No, the swordsman killed himself.
Well, yes.
He wasn't putting anyone over in this movie.
Slices into an electrical pipe.
He's like, "Hey, can I talk to you real quick? I don't think I could put this guy over in this movie. And it's a movie, James. Like, it's not wrestling. No, it's not good for my character." I'm like, "It's a movie. This is it. We're done."
Chad's paying your wage. Yeah, but I'm not
I don't
going
think
over.
it makes sense story-wise. Like, you talk to Vince about this. Like, Vince isn't here, James. Like, you're on a movie set.
He thought Drexel was Vince.
I see him making an argument like, man, I didn't let Andre the Giant pin me. And he was in Princess Bride.
You don't think you're getting over on me, Chad? Kept calling him Chad and poking him in the chest. He's like, I'm paying you to be here.
And then a bunch of homophobic slurs at him.
So many slurs.
So many slurs.
We handed him a comic book. And he's like, buy 50 of these, please.
We have a couple of fun fights here, which we have Sledge fighting the Maniac, who looks pretty normal, doesn't look that weird.
It's all internal.
And
it's
then
all intended.
And then we have Viper get bumped up to a championship match where he fights the Rocker, who is wearing a Phantom of the Opera half mask.
The good guy should be wearing this mask the entire movie.
I they basically set it up here too. They set the sword for Viper to get, but he can't take it because it's locked on the wall. The Rocker gets an axe and he kills Viper. He throws it right into his back and he's dead. And it's
my
big
favorite
tragedy.
part of this entire movie was he throws the axe, and as it's flying through the air, about to hit into our friend the Viper, our good, honest Viper who just wants to help his family. IMDb with ads, free with ads, decides to ask me immediately, do I love Reese's? And I'm like, yeah, I do. I wonder what happened to Viper.
I was just curious if you did or not.
just checking.
So yeah, the Viper's dead. It's real sad.
Didn't see that coming.
This is when it's kind of revealed that the weapon selection process is not random. It is staged. They are picking what weapons they want to be given out, and they are also not unlocking weapons if they don't want to. And again, this is because Drexel has a computer nerd who I think also doesn't speak a lick of dialogue, where he just types on a computer whatever Drexel tells him to do. And it feels like you should just be able to do that with one button press. You do not need some guy typing code to unlock or not unlock some weapons from a wall.
He definitely gives like an evil nod at one point, and you're like, oh, this guy's gonna be a character, but he's not a character.
No.
I think you might have thought something was up when the swordsman always got the sword.
Yeah, you probably. It feels like that would have been a key tip-off that, yeah, he always gets the sword somehow.
Always gets the sword. I mean, he's not called the Axeman.
That is true.
Trademarked.
Probably should have been.
Around this point, the captain wants to pull them off the case, but they convince him not to. And he's like, okay, fine. And they see that they're transporting Mendez, the guy from earlier in the movie, to maximum security. But on the way to the maximum security facility, the transport gets ambushed and he is able to escape. And he looks up information on Braniff's family. So he's going to do something very bad. And he does. He goes to their house. The kid is gone to stay with her mother, but he comes in with a box of flowers like Terminator 2 and shoots her.
I don't know what you're talking about, sir. This is a completely original idea.
I was very curious as to why. Like, I mean, he drops the box very quickly to reveal the gun. And like, flowers drop out too. He didn't actually need to get flowers.
No.
What if they check, Skinner? What if they check?
I wrote down the words, the Hell Sisters here. What were they talking about?
I don't know.
That's the women's tag team champions.
That probably makes sense. Is this around where we can see Sledge do the splits for like a minute and a half?
For an hour and a half while the other guy's fighting, and he's got the Sledge sweating as he's doing the splits, and Jean-Claude Van Damme like fires up a lawsuit.
There's lots of close-ups on his wet, glistening chest while he's doing these splits.
It really, really makes you think about how Chad does not look like this.
No. Is Chad ever shirtless in this movie?
He's got baggy shirts you can kind of see down, but nothing.
Yeah, he's not shirtless. I mean, that's got to be hard because one thing is like Gary Daniels is super ripped and in very good shape.
He's insane. I did push-ups because of this.
I told Josh about a particular review I saw on this movie.
Yes. Thank you for remembering that. Bring it up now because
this is okay. A heads up, this is someone who just really enjoys a good beefcake movie. And that's all they review is how someone looks. Like his father, McQueen has a hard-bodied physicality and genuine star quality. Playing a cop and a fighter in the ring, he sports the athletic build and macho ink that makes him a believable badass. His fights are exciting and realistic. He is the movie's focal point, and along with showing his lethal talents, he is featured in some steamy love scenes with Alicia Dahl. No, he's not.
No,
in the sack, he's a chip off the old block, and that's smoldering McQueen's sexuality as Ms. Dahl purring. When did that happen? Is there some other? Did IMDb cut out? Kip, is there a Mr. or Mrs. Skin we can check for this?
I'm on it. Hang on, let me pull up my bookmarks.
Oh, God.
Firepower nudity? Question mark. Let's see.
All right.
My computer started melting. That's not good.
But you said that guy has quite a few reviews where he talks about
he does, and they're literally about the
physiques
build
of the male actors,
which is fine. And like you would ask me, like, are you sure it's a guy or a girl? Like, no, only dudes like will break down a human body in this way. One of his things is for Radical Jack, and it's just called Billy Ray Cyrus Action Star.
Oh yeah, I see that one. He has smoldering good looks and an imposing physique.
He does not.
On Jim Cotta, he says that he exhibits muscular control that made him a champion, and he has boy next door good looks.
But yeah, that's not true of this movie. Any hits on that nudity?
There's a 1979 Firepower that's full of it, apparently.
Man, we should have watched that one.
British movie.
Sledgehammer should have really, really hammered a lot of girls. Because he's not in the movie that much besides this one scene.
Well, no, I
think
think we're
go-go dancers that are just like fully clothed the entire time.
In the hell zone.
Yeah, we're about at the end of his run. So after Mendez kills Braniff's wife, he goes to the Hell Zone. He goes to Drexel's office, and he recognizes Sledge on the screen as one of the cops who arrested him. So they send the swordsman. So he was just
a regular cop until this point? Now he's a cop he has a problem with?
Yeah, they send the swordsman in to fight Sledge, and it becomes a lethal match.
This is one of my favorite parts because it's so very wrestling where the announcer goes, "What's the swordsman doing in the ring?"
And they fight for a while, and then the swordsman cuts off Sledge's head.
I didn't see that coming.
I did not see that coming.
See it coming. I jumped off the couch. Credit to this movie.
When he made the swordsman lose his sword, and I thought, nah, he's helpless now. He's just 500 times bigger than this guy.
Here comes the hammer.
Here comes the hammer. And then voltage override on the cage, which I had forgotten the cage was electrified.
Yes.
And then I thought he would just stab him, but he cuts off his fucking head.
Yeah, and Braniff is watching all of this through this tiny little viewing window they have in their locker room. And I thought it was very funny because he sees it happen, and then we cut to outside the room, and this fucking full loaded barbell just goes flying through the window. Like, how did he do that? And he dives through and then just starts shooting everyone.
I mean, he's an action star.
But then he goes home.
I do love it. Yeah, he just goes home.
And he finds his dead wife there. And then he's like, and then he goes to his chief and goes, I'm going back into the zone to get Drexel. And the chief's like, well, I don't want you to die, but okay. And it's like,
You got nothing to
why
live
does
for
it
anymore.
matter?
Because of AIDS. But remember, this movie's about a fake AIDS vaccine. But
Oh yeah, I forgot.
his reaction to his best friend and partner's got his head fucking cut off from his head. He goes home, his wife is dead, and he just kind of like grabs his forehead like he has a mild headache.
Well, he realized he's single now, so Lisa's on the table again.
He puts his hand on his head. He's like, "Oh man, I can just picture her nude now. All I have to do is defeat the ultimate warrior."
So am I like officially divorced at this moment, or how does this work, guys?
Do I get to keep the place?
Do I have to file any
That's not coming from my
paperwork
place.
or
Yeah,
Or is it just like automatically today single?
like
I should probably check on my son, but I'm not worried about that right now.
Wait.
Wait.
Where's the Super Nintendo at? Oh, it's right there. Good. Whew. Oh man.
That's when he gets pissed off. He comes in, he sees that Mendez also smashed up the SNES. Like, that bastard.
No.
my Final Fantasy save.
So he goes back into the zone. He kills some more bad guys, blows up some cars that are already on fire.
Sure.
He goes back into the ring, finds a video of Drexel there, who has Lisa
The lovely
kidnapped.
Lisa?
That's not her name.
Lisa. The
Say
lovely
it
Lisa.
correctly.
I'm sorry. Mendez shows up and tries to shoot him, but he has a bulletproof vest on. He easily kills Mendez. No problem. Braniff then goes to the lab where they're making the fake AIDS vaccine. And I guess this is where they cut stuff out of the movie because he just starts killing guys with a crossbow.
Didn't see this coming.
Like, it's such a weird change in weaponry.
They always called me the crossbow cat. Like, no, never in this movie once have I been called the crossbow cat.
The C in Chad is Andrew Crossbow. In the movie, your name's not Chad. Oh, fuck. What was my character's name?
Cut. Can I just have a crossbow? I'm like, yeah, dude, whatever. Let's just get him a crossbow.
He blows up a bunch of stuff there. Or wait, I think maybe there's an explosion later. I can't remember. It doesn't matter. He destroys the vaccine.
We see all the guys all these scientists who are working to make something that it doesn't work.
I don't understand this. Like, this has got to be like a rewrite or something. Because if it's a fake AIDS vaccine, why do they have to do any work on it? Why can't they just put some green Kool-Aid in a vial?
Yeah, it seems like a long way to go to get there.
They were in their drug aprons.
They go up. He goes up onto the roof and he finds Drexel there with Lisa at gunpoint, and the swordsman's also there. And this is when he says that the lovely Lisa are the stakes of the fight. And so then there's a fight, and it's just a lot of punching. It's very dull because the camera is like way far away from the fighting. It's like on the other side of the roof, and we're just looking at the fighting in the distance. We're like, get closer.
They tried to, and it looked so bad.
It looks so bad. They had 100 takes, and this was the best one.
This was the best one, with the horse standing in the background. Like, where did the horse come from? Like, yeah, just use it.
And he does doesn't the swordsman like body slam Chad here, I think?
It was a real missed opportunity not to have him like press slam him over his head and then run off a rope and dive on top of him.
I mean, he did half his finish. Like The Rock, The Rock always made sure in his first like 5 movies to always hit the rock bottom.
He hit the rock bottom in the rundown, like in the trailer.
Yes, in the trailer. He knows, like the Warrior press slams him. He has trouble with it. The guy's not going up for him. And then
Sandbags him like a son of a bitch.
I know. He had probably had to potato him later to the receipt. But like
Give him that receipt.
He didn't do the splash, which as a kid, as a huge Ultimate Warrior fan, I didn't realize was his finish.
No, because it was a splash. Like, what the fuck? This dude's a super muscular dude. He's doing a splash for a finish?
Like he's the one-man gang.
Yeah, that's lame. And homophobic, so,
Yeah, that's true.
And the swordsman pulls out his sword and then just sort of jams it right into a circuit box and gets electrocuted.
Totally. This movie, the last 10 minutes of this movie, like he faces the guy that killed his wife and is like not a big deal.
Yeah, he doesn't care. He just shoots him. It's dead.
And then the swordsman like kills himself and he's like, oh, great, perfect.
And then
like,
he
very
kills,
anticlimactic.
he kills Drexel within seconds of the warrior killing himself.
And he never says, hey, Drexel, welcome to class. 1993, that was on television. That would have been a great burn.
Hey, Clyde, the dried Drexel. Get it wrong and then throw something at him.
Traveling on you, Drexel. And he's like, wait, what? He's like, Clyde Drexler. And he's like, oh, right.
He throws the sword into Drexel, and then Drexel falls.
Would he have also been electrocuted when he went to pull it out?
You would think so, but apparently not. I think he's wearing gloves, so they were grounded. He throws the sword into Drexel, and Drexel falls through the glass onto the vaccine, which destroys it, apparently.
It cures him of AIDS.
It cures him of AIDS, so I was like, wait a minute. Like, what were we trying to say again? Like, this is not RoboCop, I know that.
And then I love Lisa's line, which is, we can leave together now.
And
then they go to kiss, and the movie cuts right there.
Right? Because Chad's like, okay, guys, this is a family movie.
Like, how bad was this kiss? The director's like, and there, let's just stop it. Because that kiss was horrific.
We gotta get this No Man's Land song in here faster.
It's the one thing we paid for.
The song is great, actually. The end credit song is pretty fantastic, I think.
This movie, God, they could just have actually transported to being made in 2003 instead. The new metal would have been all over this fucking thing.
Oh, God.
Limp Bizkit would have been in this movie.
The other fighters would have all been members of Limp Bizkit.
There would have been a montage of break stuff.
One thing I did like is that I looked through the credits because I was listening to the song because it ruled, and the special effects foreman is named Don Power.
You know what they say? He would say more power, and then blow something up.
Man, if I was that close, I would just change my name to Dick Power.
I mean, that's your working name on the internet.
It is, and it's done me very well.
It's like Brian Skinner as Dick Power.
It really grabs people. Really grabs them, stabs them.
Grabbingly good.
Grabbingly good. It really penetrates their brain.
Any final thoughts on Firepower as we wrap up our discussion of the film?
Kip says more firepower, and I do a Tim Allen voice
while shooting guns.
And then Hollis goes, and Josh goes, I don't think so, Kip.
I wonder if anyone involved in the making of this movie, if you ask them, remembers making this movie.
Probably not.
Well, Chad does.
Oh, yes. That was like his claim to fame.
I mean, he said
sell a house.
So. I mean, in between, he's probably touring the country, playing country Christian music and whatever else.
How much he hates masks.
Yeah.
Selling T-shirts that say, Steve didn't wear a mask, so why are you? Oh, good point.
My dad wouldn't have worn a mask.
He hated Mask, actually.
He hated the movie The Mask.
A lot of people don't know Bullet is basically anti-mask. If you really watch, it's all in there.
Well, he is in Bullet 2 that was released in 94, which if you click on its IMDb page, there is nothing on it. It just says star Chad McQueen. He's the only cast list. He's the only person in the cast listed. There's no director. There's no anything. Yet it has a 5 out of 10 stars.
What's that Sheryl Crow song that she says Steve McQueen? All he needs is a fast machine. What if she made one about Chad McQueen?
Chad McQueen, never seen without his shirt on.
So the next movie we watch, Indecent Behavior 2, starring Chad McQueen.
I like that he just gave up on acting and just got into racing. Definitely not following his dad's footsteps at all.
I wonder if he ever tried to sue Lightning McQueen.
For taking his name.
He's like, I should do the voice for this. I'll be really good at it.
No, he thinks it's a real thing.
Well, Kip, thank you so much for joining us to talk about Firepower. Do you have anything you'd like to plug or promote?
Promote this great podcast, is Patreon, which I'm a member of.
Is our old podcast available on the internet still? Like on archive.org?
Somebody found it and was listening to it the other day and asked me about it.
Wow, really? That's unexpected.
Google searched me, I believe, and found my podcast.
Was it a potential romantic lead?
Possibly, yes.
Well, thank God the podcast was very good. One time we were new and notable.
She enjoyed it. So
yeah, let's promote that. Go back and watch.
Watch
sorry.
our ill-fated video podcast.
Yeah, sorry.
I'm looking at my phone while Skinner makes jokes.
Let me restate. Go back and listen to Can We Just Be Friends with Kip and Skinner. It was a fun show. I was on an episode or two. I was not as good as you two were together. But
we asked you how much you benched a lot.
That's true, you did, and I think my answer is pretty much the same as it was then, which is not much.
Well, maybe one day there'll be a new episode in that feed, and it will be as worse,
if not worse. We have discussed it, and then we asked our old producer, Bo North, who
is way more successful now,
more successful, and she would have to pay to restate the feed. So
yes,
but it's still out there. You can listen. So. Go listen to it. It's great. But until next week, when we are back picking another awesome action movie to discuss this August, I've been Josh.
I've been Skinner.
I am Chad McQueen.
Holy shit, he's been here all
the whole
along.
time.
Oh, no.
I'm going to sue both you assholes.
And we predict you'll join us. If you like the show, subscribe, rate, and review us over at Apple Podcasts. We're on Twitter and Instagram at predictocast, and you can find our entire back catalog at predictocast.com. Our theme music is by Kyle Sledge. Find more of his work at soundcloud.com/geistmusic. To get monthly bonus content, sign up at patreon.com/predictocast. As always, thanks for listening.